So United Way was so gracious about providing that for us. So now we have a ongoing partner.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Thank you. All right. Hi, everybody. I am Tasha Cooper. I'm the Executive Director of Hands On River Region. I'm filling in for Becky Booker today, who had a last-minute mishap, but that's why we always like to tag team everything anyway. So she already had me on the coming with her today to talk about this partnership. Actually, several years ago, I received a phone call from, it was then Kristen Dial, who had learned a little bit about 211 here in Montgomery at an outreach event. And she reached out to me and said, hey, I really think that what we do and what you do goes hand in hand with each other. And so what I want to talk about first is what 211 is. So 211 is an information referral line. It's actually an initiative that was implemented by the United Ways of Alabama. And we can go to the, okay. Oh, let's see. Okay. Can you go to the next person? All right. Okay, so there's my contact information. But just to let you know a little bit about what 211 is, it is an initiative that was started by the United Ways of Alabama, by the United Way Worldwide, and then the United Ways of Alabama and Becky Booker, they are this 211 statewide lead. And what that basically means is there's a network of 10 211 call centers across the entire state of Alabama. Hands On River Region, here in this area, we're based locally in Montgomery. We cover a 14-county area for our 211 call center. Autauga, Bullock, Butler, Coosa, Crenshaw, Dallas, Elmore, Lowndes, Macon, Montgomery, Perry, Pike, Tallapoosa, and Wilcox counties. That's our 14 counties that we serve. The other 9 211 call centers around the state cover the rest of the state of Alabama. And so one of the goals of, and our motto at 211 is get connected, get help. And so what we do is we are 24-hour day, 365 or 66 day a year operation. And so anytime that somebody is in need of assistance, and that could be seeking resources, that can be anything from mental health, school supplies, Christmas assistance, housing assistance, we work diligently to make sure we understand, and that's across the entire state, we understand what the resources are in our community. It also goes into times that they're in times of disaster. We actually are a partner with the Alabama Emergency Management Agency, and we are members of the Alabama Voluntary Organizations Active in Disaster. And so part of what we do is make sure in times of disaster, we are coordinating instantly. We actually are weather chasers, it feels like sometimes, instantly with our local emergency management agencies to make sure we understand what resources are available to our community. So back to several years ago when I got the phone call from Kristen Dial, and she said, I really think what you guys do and what we do could go hand in hand. It really fit the model that we aspire to be at 211. And so what we want to do at 211 is be able to help our callers when they call in. So we may have a caller who's calling in that needs assistance, housing assistance, and they say, hey, I'm looking for a homeless shelter, or hey, I'm about to be evicted. I think this is probably a better example. I'm about to be evicted and I need some resources. I need to know what's available to keep me in my housing situation. Well, sometimes the folks that call us are in an emergency situation, and all they're thinking about when they call 211 is what they're calling us about at the time, which is, I need rent assistance. But what they're not thinking about is all the steps and all the things that happened that led them to an instance where they need rent assistance. Maybe they lost their job. Maybe they have met some, they're taking care of a family member. Maybe, they lost their job because they didn't have training or understand the soft skills to stay employed, which we see a lot of times. And so one of the things that we started to look at 211 is how can we partner with other agencies, locally, statewide, and federally, who do wraparound services and triage those callers to make sure that we're not only taking care of the call and the need they have on the call, but we're helping them, work through the reasons why they're calling us today. And sometimes we're able to open up more available resources, and a lot of times resources that people don't even know are available in the community. And so when we started the partnership between 211, which the statewide network is called 211 Connects Alabama, and the Alabama State Partnership, sorry, this is in the way. We wanted to make sure that we provide information referrals and screen every caller that we see that has children pre-K through 12th grade in Alabama public schools. Of course, you know that. And so what we do is we've added a series of questions to our call report when folks call into 211. And we'll talk a little bit more about what that data looks like. But that's part of what we do at 211. We have other partnerships around the state and locally. Lydia Pickett with the Mid-Alabama Coalition for the Homeless is over here. She's just waving her hand. So here locally, our continuum of care is called the Mid-Alabama Coalition for the Homeless, and they cover a 5-county area. And of course, primarily Montgomery is where we see most of the needs. And so one of the things we do here at the Hands-On River Region 211 is we partner with the Mid-Alabama Coalition for the Homeless to provide coordinated entry, which is a HUD-mandated program and process. And 211 becomes the centralized point of access for people who are experiencing homelessness to be assessed and be referred to resources in the community. And so not every 211 does that. That's a very special partnership that we have with the Coalition for the Homeless. There are other areas in the state where 211 operations do handle that partnership, but not as, I think it happens in more in the South Alabama than it does anywhere else. But I think we have the greatest partnership when it comes to trying to triage and really case manage as far as we can on our side at 211 folks who are in housing instability. Can we get to the next slide? All right, so as I mentioned before, these are our 10 211 sites across the state. 211 has been in operation since 1999. Hands-On River Region has actually been doing information referrals since the 80s. And we just implemented the 211 branding, which is a United Way worldwide branding in the late 90s. Can we get to the next slide? All right. So one of the things we do in our partnership is work to create postcards that get sent home to parents so they can also know about the benefits of using 211 and utilizing 211. So you may have seen these, and this is just the front of the postcard that we created. It just tells you a little bit about need help, contact 211. Are there child care programs in my area? Where do I go during a disaster? What senior services are available in my area? If you can think of a question and a service you need, we most likely can help you find a resource at 211. That's our goal. All right, next slide. And here's the back of the program, and this is catered specifically toward our partnership. So it talks a little bit about what it qualifies as homeless under the McKinney-Vento Act, and what services, and what we can do to help connect to our callers to our services. So one of the things I always say to folks is, if you have somebody that's in need of services, you don't have to be the hero. And I see that so often. I was actually just in a meeting with somebody from the city of Montgomery, and they know about the services we provide at 211. And he said, I just wish there was a global resource directory. And I think my face turned red, because we are the global resource directory, right? And so one of the things we try to encourage every organization who provides services to folks in need is to be in a resource database. But one of the ways we have to protect our callers is we have to vet those resources that come into us. They have to meet certain criteria, and we have an exclusion policy to make sure that folks who say, hey, I want my resource to be in the database, are actually legitimate and they're not trying to take advantage of folks. I'll give you a great example of how that happens. Lee County tornadoes in 2018? Lee County tornadoes in 2018 that hit Smith Station and Beauregard. We helped provide resources, and our volunteer component that we have at Hands-On River Region actually set up a volunteer reception site for volunteers who were coming in and want to help. But we started getting calls from folks that said, hey, I want to be in your resource directory. I want to be in your resource directory. These were contractors who were planning to charge thousands of dollars to folks to come out and receive services when we have volunteers on the ground that were doing the same work. And so when we start asking questions, what's your sliding scale? What's your fee rate? All this stuff. Oh, no. You wanted to be the yellow book. You wanted us to be the yellow book for you. You wanted people to call and say, I need a tree down. And we say, oh, call so-and-so. No, we don't do that. And so that's really important for people to understand about 211 as well. We protect and safeguard our callers. We are looking for agencies that are doing work, sliding scale, free, and catering to folks who are, usually experiencing some type of economic hardship where they cannot themselves usually pay full price for things, services in the community. But we have programs that do, like I said, offer services that maybe for some folks are a little bit, it's a sliding scale. But our goal is to make sure that folks are being protected when they call a 211, that we're providing them with resources that we can verify and make sense. And that's really important to us. And like I said, I just can't tell you the amount of contractors who call us thinking we're going to be the yellow book for them during times of disaster. So we take that very seriously. All right, next slide. So this slide just gives you an idea of, as a statewide 211 network. And so just to let you know how 211 works, and I get ahead of myself because I get excited, and I also know I only have 30 minutes, and I could probably talk about this for 2 hours. So one of the things that you can do to get connected to 211 is just dial 211 from any phone. You can also go to our website, 211connectsalabama.org. There's also an 888 number that I should be able to recite off of my memory, but I can't, that you can go to, and it's on the postcard, and you can dial to get connected to 211. Our goal is that you can be able to chat with us, text with us, call us on the phone. Some people don't like to talk to a real human being anymore, so that's why we have the keyword search on our website. And so you can actually as well take advantage of, if you have somebody in your office and they're looking for resources but maybe don't feel comfortable talking to somebody on the phone, you can do a keyword search for the things that you're looking for in your community and see what pops up in 211. The other thing I want to mention is I did talk about get connected, get help, and the diligent work we do across the state to try to procure resources in our community. But I do want to say that there are limited resources. We all know that some areas have more money for certain things than others, and some areas don't have certain services at all. And so another reason I tell folks to continue to call 211 is because we capture unmet needs. So we're not only tracking the needs that our callers call us about that we can refer them to, but we're tracking unmet needs. And so a lot of times I'll have our local United Way, or we'll have government officials that say, we have this great idea. We want to do X, Y, Z. Can you give us some data on it? And the data shows, okay, well, that's not really what people are calling about. People are calling about this other need. And honestly, most of the time when people call 211, they're seeking some type of housing assistance or they're seeking some type of utility assistance. Those are our two greatest needs across the state year to year. And I've been working here 5.5 years, and it doesn't matter where you're in the state of Alabama or what month it is, those are our two top needs always. And so there's just never going to be enough resources, right? There's just not right now. Maybe one day there will be. And so what I can say is don't feel discouraged if you call 211 and there's not a resource. Please know that we are tracking that we are providing that data out in our community across all the 10 211 networks to try to advocate for resources to come into our community. I also think I started to mention and then stopped our other partnerships that we have. So not only do we have this partnership with you guys, but we have a partnership with the Alabama Department of Public Health, where people who are COVID positive can call into 211. And if they are having trouble making ends meet or getting to what they need, maybe it's getting to food resources or being able to appropriately quarantine. Here in Montgomery, Alabama State University students have nowhere to quarantine if they contract COVID-19, but they have to leave campus. And so some kids are able to go back home or take a couple-hour drive back to their parents' house. Other kids came here from across the United States, and they have no way to get back home. And so that's one of the things we also do is work with our students and anybody who has COVID that is in need, that can't fend for themselves, to make sure we're connecting them to services. A lot of folks who get COVID-19, there may be hourly workers who can't make ends meet when they have to be out of work for 5 days. And so being able to connect them to groceries for those 5 days or hygiene items and cleaning supplies is essential to them just being able to kind of keep up with themselves and hopefully not get into a situation where they go into complete detriment and then are calling us for more resources because now they can't pay their bills and things like that. And so we have that partnership. We also have a partnership with Alabama Department of Human Resources, a reset, where we screen our callers to try to help them, if they have SNAP benefits, get into further education and training resources, even with the state community college systems, so that they can be further employed and hopefully not need 211 in the future as well. We have another partnership with the Center for Medicaid Services, and we have folks on our team who are trained in the healthcare exchange and can help people learn a little bit more about health insurance and how to enroll in health insurance. And even if they enroll in the healthcare exchange and are denied, we can help them go through the claims process and even fight that claim and hopefully get them insured. So we're very proud of those connections. We continue to seek those connections, and what we find from our partners is a lot of times, because we're asking the questions to be able to connect to those resources like you all, people don't know about it, or people are scared to utilize you. We find a lot of times people are scared to admit that they're in a crisis, that they're doubled up with family, they're homeless, they're living in their car, because they're fearful that their kids are going to be taken away from them. So what I do want to also mention before I get ahead of myself again is I saw LaToya and Cheryl in the back. We have 4 people on our team, and I don't know where the other folks are, or if they're here. Okay, I see Megan now. Okay. But we have 4 folks on our team at Hands on River Region who work the entire state of Alabama and connect our callers to you all. And there are ALSDE coordinators, and LaToya is our team leader. And so we are so thankful and hope you connect with them if you haven't already and talk to them a little bit more. But we are so proud of that relationship and that we have with you all, and are so just happy of the success stories we've seen and being able to further screen folks who were scared to even make the call or didn't even know that those programs existed and were available to them in their community. So we're thankful for that. So to get back to this is just 1 month overall in the state of Alabama. The amount of calls that we see into our area, contacts by county, and you'll see Jefferson County, 2,262 callers, almost 20% of our calls come from Jefferson County. Montgomery County, which we cover, being the second highest county as far as callers, with 1,593, which is about 14% of the calls for the entire state of Alabama in any given month, which equals 11,400, I think that's 88 callers in a month, and that's really not, that's a drop in the bucket, because we have hundreds of thousands of callers every year, and in times of disaster, that number continues to go up. In 2020, at the start of COVID-19, our call volume went up 300%. And so we are here when we made it work. And so one of the things we do, one of the questions we ask all of our callers is, do you have children pre-K through 12th grade in Alabama public schools? So you'll see for the month of March, we had 7,264 callers that answered that question. Some people do not answer that question, and that's okay. Doesn't mean they can't get connected to resources, but we do try to capture as much as we can. And out of that, I believe 25% said yes. And then if we go to the next slide, I'm going to pull up my slide on this. If you go to the next slide, you'll see that we then further drill down, and when somebody says, yes, I do have a child in Alabama public schools, pre-K through 12th grade in Alabama public schools, and we ask them, what is your housing situation? And so 44 of our callers who answered yes, or 109 callers total, were in some type of housing crisis that fit with the McKinney-Vento Act. 44 were currently homeless, 33 were doubled up with families, 26 were residing in hotels, 3, I can't remember what that is, 2 were migratory families, and 1 was a pregnant teen. And so out of that, 109 of our callers for that month did answer yes to that question. Now, there's probably more than that don't, but that's 109 callers that we get connected to their local liaisons in their community. And so I think we can go on to the next slide. All right, there we go. I think I have this this one too. I can read a little bit better up here. Sorry, the fern's getting in my way. Okay, so once again, as you see, currently homeless. That one that I couldn't read was children and their parents or guardians who reside in domestic abuse shelters, in transitional housing or emergency shelters, and a pregnant teen or young mother and their babies in shelters due to problematic situations. So that's really important that you guys can kind of see the information that we're trying to capture and drill down, not only for you, but to be able to, know what types of services we can, like I said, continue to advocate for. I wanted to provide just a couple of success stories that I think resonated with me. In April, Montgomery woman reached out to 211 for assistance with finding community support services. She was struggling with homelessness and residing in an inoperative vehicle. She faced challenges in ensuring her son's education. Our 211 staff, our 211 ALSDE coordinators, shared the contact information of the Montgomery County Public School Homeless Liaison, who immediately stepped in to offer essential aid, arranging school transportation, facilitating the process to excuse her son's school absences, and providing clothing and educational materials. Additionally, 211 was able to provide her with a list of resources to aid in her pursuit of a more permanent living situation. In March, a mother in her mid-30s, raising 2 children, contacted 211 in search of housing assistance, aiming to secure a spot in a neighborhood homeless shelter. Previously residing with relatives had become unsustainable. To address her needs, 211 shared a range of housing and shelter options available locally. We bridged the communication with the homeless liaison in Lee County, leading to the provision of school uniforms and supplies for the caller's children. Before calling 211, either the families knew about the McKinney-Vento Act or the legal protections they had under this law. Because 211 is the entry point known to connect families with resources, and we have a pulse on the community needs, we are the perfect connection for your program and 211. All right, so once again, Becky Booker is our State 211 lead with the United Ways of Alabama. She could not be here today, but her contact information is up on the screen. And then I am Tasha Cooper. I'm the Executive Director of Hands on River Region. If you're in any of those 14 counties that I listed that you probably already forgot, please feel free to reach out to us if there's anything we can do to help you. And because Hands on River Region actually has the 4 ALSDE coordinators for the entire state, if you have any problems that arise, you can always reach out to me or needs, because hopefully it's not problems. Needs, you can always reach out to us as well and figure out ways that we can connect. I can tell you LaToya sits on a team call with us. Our team leads and managers meet every other week. And the last team call we had, she was already talking about making sure that her folks that she was going to talk to, she was procuring resources for summer programs, anything that she thought, summer feeding programs, anything she thought that her callers were going to need when it came to resources once school is out. And so we are trying to be, like I said earlier, proactive in the needs of our community. And it's wonderful to see the 4 people that are in this program and work this program every day are so compassionate and caring and want to do what they can to help the people who call, who say, yes, I am in a situation where I need help with housing, or I'm in housing unstable, and I do have a child in pre-K through 12 public schools. But I'm done. I don't know how much time I have left. Sorry. And anytime you want to talk to me, please.
Make sure Becky get this.